Hi, my name is Jeremy Jacobs, and I am the CEO of FitnessRepairParts.com. Welcome to our series of training videos on our inventory management system. If this is the first video on our inventory management system that you are watching, I would encourage you to go back to the very first video in the series and begin there. The videos are laid out in a specific order to help you build on a foundation of best practices and how to organize your warehouse space and your parts on the shelf. If you've already watched those, then let's jump in. In this training series, we're going to be using a real-world scenario. This is a service company that is local to us, and I'm going to be helping them get their inventory organized. It's a scenario that I imagine many of you are familiar with. Part numbers written on the side of box, organized by Precor and True, organized by brand. And if you need to find a part, you're likely headed out to these shelves to sort through them and visually look at every handwritten part number to find that part you're looking at, maybe trying to locate it by the size of the box you expect it to be in. We're going to get all this organized so that you know exactly where your inventory is, how many you have on the shelf, or if you have none on the shelf. Now that we've got the printer set up, the next step in the process is to work on organizing the space itself, not the parts, but actually labeling the shelves and the aisles and starting to lay out a plan and process for where we're going to place the product. So in this video, we're going to cover best practices on how to set up your warehouse space, how to best label the shelves in what we feel is probably the most efficient way. We have moved warehouses 6 times over the last 20 plus years. And each time in that process, each iteration, we have learned something new. So I'm going to give you what we've learned over the years and how to set this up. The other thing you'll want to do with your warehouse space, which I have not done here, is clear out the aisles. For good working space, some cleanliness and organization is an excellent thing. So I would suggest that you not do as this company here has done, which is leave items on the floor in the aisle space, especially as you get things labeled and there's an empty shelf and you've got a barcode. Throw it on a shelf, put it on in the inventory system as being in that location, and then you won't have to worry about where it's at. The floor itself does not have a location, so it'll be, if you leave items on the floor, it'll be difficult to locate them later. So we're going to jump back and forth between the software and the physical layout of this space as we work on getting this space organized and set up. In the menu, if you select locations, you should by default see no locations. Now, mine already has locations in it because I've added some. But if you go ahead and select the button that says add location, you're going to see 2 fields, and those are both 2 character fields. So a total of 4 characters to identify a location. And what we found best is to label our aisles with letters. Your space won't really have more than 26 letters, so we're going to use the first of the 2 characters in that first field for the aisle letter. And you can go ahead and stencil letters on your floor if you like we've done in this space. So we know this is aisle A, the next aisle over is going to be aisle B and aisle C and so forth. In this space we've only got 4 aisles, so 4 letters A through D. And the next letter in that first box is going to be a shelf location. So first letter denotes the aisle, and the second letter denotes a location. Now, I've already added some locations and went ahead and printed some labels. But you can see here A2-0A. So let me explain that real quick. A is obviously the aisle letter, and 2 is the section. We feel it's best to label these sections in either 3 or 4 foot increments. So this happens to be post to post here, 4 foot. So this is a single section, and this is section 2. And the next section is section 4, and then section 6 down there. You'll notice that this is the even side, just like a street. And then on this side, this is the odd side. So this is aisle A, section 1, aisle A, section 3, section 5, and section 7 down there. So when you're going to find a part, it becomes relatively easy to narrow down quickly where at in the aisle you need to start looking. You're going to look at a location in the database and see A4, and you're going to immediately know I'm going to aisle A and I'm going to the even side, the second section down, or section 4. So that will quickly narrow it down. And then the second 2 characters, now you won't see this dash, but it gets added when we print the barcodes. The second 2 characters is the shelf height itself. And what we found over several iterations is the best way to do this is the first of the 2 characters is the nearest foot, and then the second is the nearest 4 inches. So 4A would be 4 foot 0 inches, 4B would be 4 foot 4 inches, 4C would be 4 foot 8 inches, and then we would go to 5A for 5 foot 0 inches. So the 4 quickly tells you what kind of height you're looking at. If you have shelves that are above 9 foot, you can switch to letters. So you would start with maybe an A or a B or a C here. But if you saw a letter instead of a number, you would know you probably need a ladder before you go to that location. So you don't have to walk to the location, look at it visually, and realize you need a ladder, and then go get a ladder. So it's more efficient to know before you even get there that you're going to need a ladder. It also tells you pretty quickly, like this bottom section is 0A, you're looking at the floor. So by using a foot number and then a letter indicating the nearest 4 inches, A, B, or C, you'll learn pretty quickly where your eyes need to go when you get to the shelf. So to enter a location into the system, fill out those first 2 characters, then fill out the second set of characters, and then hit that diskette save icon. It should save it. You're probably going to want to go ahead and add a bunch of the locations that you need, saving each one along the way. And then once you've got the locations in the system, there's a little print icon, and you can start to go through and click the print button on each of those locations. They should, as long as your printer is connected properly, begin to spit out of the printer as soon as you click those icons. If you are in a warehouse situation that you have pallet racking, our pallet racking's almost 30 foot high, you obviously don't want to be scanning barcodes up there. So what we've done is actually place all the barcodes on the uprights. Now for our warehouse, we actually use an extra set of characters. It's a little longer because we have way more locations than you should have a need for. But the bottom 2 shelves are labeled just like any other shelf location. And then going up the rack, we have the shelf locations labeled so that as you're moving inventory, you can just, hit your gun and scan the location that you just moved inventory to or from. So these are kind of some best practices in terms of how we use the 2 character and then 2 character fields. They are freeform, so you can choose to use them in some other way if you desire. And so let me talk about one of the alternate ways that we will use this, and we suggest that you probably use it for your own purposes. Some companies would like to set up truck locations and or maybe tech bins, tech part locations, alternative locations that are used for inventory. So you may want to scan parts onto a tech's truck as it goes out the door so that you know it's in his possession, his or her possession, and that's perfectly acceptable. It requires a little bit more work in the process of scanning the part out the door, and then if it doesn't get used, scanning it back in the door. So that's your prerogative in terms of how you use the system. With those locations, you may want to use maybe the two initials of the tech as the first location and then just a 01. Or you may want to set up, let's say, TC for tech and then the two initials of the tech for the second set of characters. So all tech locations start with TC, and then the two initials tell you which tech has them. You can also use maybe like a return shelf. So you might have a RT-01, let's say, and that's a return shelf. So you can set up kind of miscellaneous locations that aren't necessarily attached to a physical shelf. They might be a truck, or you might actually create a location and put a barcode on it that is that physical location, but it doesn't remain in the standardized aisle system. For our purposes in running FitnessRepairParts.com, we use MW for miscellaneous warehouse, and then we have a number of miscellaneous warehouse locations around the warehouse that have specific purposes, and the second set of characters tell us what it's used for. So they are somewhat freeform. You can put numbers or letters, not non-standard characters, but you can put letters or numbers in both of those fields and use them to identify other miscellaneous locations that you find you have a need for. You may have a location that's used for printable materials. Let's say that you want to do like I don't know, some sort of document that needs to be printed upon use, or maybe a USB stick or something like that. You can have those miscellaneous locations identified so that you can put things into inventory, but really when that item comes up in inventory, you need to print it or you need to load software onto USB or something else that it flags you to do. So that's going to be a quick overview of how to set up the physical space in which you store your parts. In the next video, we're going to start to actually receive product and barcode items. But this should get you set up in terms of getting your physical space organized. You're going to want to do that first. Hey, we're glad that you've chosen to at least experiment with our inventory system and are going to try and get this set up. Thanks for watching this series of training videos. There's going to be an email address at the bottom of the screen. If you need support, technical support on getting this set up, please send us an email and we'll try and help you as best as possible as we get this thing off the ground. We know there's bugs probably and some improvements, and we're working hard to make it as excellent as possible. So please reach out and let us know what we can do better. We want to help all of the service providers in the country get organized with their inventory and be able to serve their customers better. So thanks for watching along.